Dear viewers, welcome to our channel GVS Bank Academy. Today I am going to discuss about Principle and Practice of Banking, Part 6, Recalled Questions, Important Questions for JAB, Principle and Practice of Banking. This is Part 6, Part up to Part 5 already uploaded. SWIFT. Normally this question they are asking. SWIFT, it is a secure worldwide financial messaging system exclusive to banks. Banks are using this for their international fund transfer. For their international funds transfer, the banks are using this. This is 24 by 7. This is operated by 24 by 7 throughout the day and 365 days. It is a secure worldwide financial messaging system exclusive to funds transfer to international countries. What is the abbreviation for SWIFT? Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. Now, in the 2018 onwards, the SWIFT messages are integrated to core banking solution in all the banks. So, this is the SWIFT you are using for international funds transfer system. So, this is question number 101. 102. What are the restructuring schemes removed by RBI on 7/6/2019? Earlier, some restructuring schemes are there in Indian banking industry. That schemes are eliminated, scrapped by RBI removed by on 7/6. What are that schemes? Framework for revitalizing distressed assets. Framework for revitalizing the distressed assets. CDR, Corporate Debt Restructuring Scheme. Flexible structuring of existing long-term project loans. Flexible structuring of existing long-term project loans. Strategic Debt Restructuring Scheme, SDR. Strategic Debt Restructuring Scheme. And last one is S4A, change in ownership outside strategic debt restructuring and scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed assets. S4A, scheme for sustainable structuring of stressed assets. All these schemes scrapped by RBI on 7th June 2019. In all these schemes place, one new scheme was introduced by RBI on 7/6/2019. That new scheme name is Prudential Framework for Resolution of Stressed Assets. After removing scrapping of these schemes, Prudential Framework for Resolution of Stressed Assets. Now, as of day, for restructuring scheme, only one scheme is there. That is Prudential Framework for Resolution of Stressed Assets. All these schemes has been scrapped by RBI on 7/6/2019. From 7/6/2019 onwards, only Prudential Framework for Resolution of Stressed Assets, only this scheme is prevailing now. 103 question number. What are the categories under priority sector? What are the headings? What are the loans comes under priority sector? These are the agriculture advances comes under priority sector. Agriculture, it is very important for all. Agriculture comes under priority sector. Micro, small and medium enterprises also comes under priority sector. Whatever the loans we are giving for micro, small and medium enterprises, irrespective of the loan amount, the amount will come under priority sector. This is the micro, small and medium enterprises. Whatever the loans banks are sanctioning, micro, small, medium enterprises, irrespective of limits, comes under priority sector. Export credit also comes under priority sector, but one limitation is there. Each loan account not exceeding, each borrower account not exceeding 40 crores. Export credits also comes under priority sector with the limitation of each borrowable account, each account sanction limit up to 40 crores. That is the export credit. Education loans also comes under priority sector. Each education loan up to 20 lakhs only comes under priority sector. Education loan up to 20 lakhs. Housing loans also comes under priority sector with some restrictions are there. Housing loan in metro 35 lakhs. Housing loans sanctioning in metro areas 35 lakhs. Loan 35 lakhs. Cost not exceeding 45 lakhs. Metro area loan 35. Cost of house not exceeding 45 lakhs. Housing loan in other areas 25 lakhs comes under priority. Housing project cost not exceeding 25 lakhs. That is housing loan. Then housing loan repairs also banks can give. In the metro area 10 lakhs comes under priority sector and other areas 6 lakhs. Metro repairs 10 lakhs, other areas repairs for housing 6 lakhs. Social infrastructure also comes under priority sector. Under social infrastructure, banks can give for 5 crores. Social infrastructure creation of schools, college buildings, and sanitization works in the areas. Social infrastructure 5 crores. But under social infra, healthcare facilities under Ayushman Bharat scheme, that is 10 crores also comes under priority sector. Normally social infra 5 crores, priority sector. But under Ayushman Bharat scheme, healthcare facilities, it will come up to 10 crores also will come under priority sector. Renewable energy 30 crores. Renewable energy loan up to 30 crores comes under priority sector. Priority sector. Now other loans. So what categories are comes under priority sector? Very, very important. Agriculture, MSME, export credit, education loan, housing loan, social infrastructure, renewable energy, others. These are the 8 headings are there under priority sector. 8. Agriculture, MSME, export credit, education loan, housing loan, social infra, renewable energy and others. Very, very important. Farm credit for corporate farmers. This is also one question they are asking frequently. How much you can give farm credit for corporate farmers? Loans for the following activities will be subject to aggregate limit of 2 crores, 2 crore per borrower for corporate farmers. So loans for the following activities will be subject to a total limit of 2 crores for. What are the following facilities? Crop loans to farmers, which will include traditional and non-traditional plantations and horticulture, and a loan to allied. So, crop loans to farmers for traditional, non-traditional plantation crops, horticulture crops, and allied activities also comes under corporate farmers. Medium and long-term loans, medium and long-term loans for agriculture and allied activities. That is examples, purchase of agriculture implements. What are the agriculture and allied activity? Allied. Purchase of agriculture implements, purchase of agriculture related machinery, and developmental loans for allied activities. For any agriculture related development loans also will come under allied activities. Loans for pre and post harvest facilities. Loans for free agriculture free and post harvest facilities activity such as spraying, harvesting, grading, and transporting of their own farm produce, whatever you are giving, that it will come under. Loans for free post harvesting activities will come under this heading. Then last point, loan to up to 75 lakhs against pledge hypothecation of agriculture produce. Loans up to 75 lakhs against pledge of goods of the agriculture produce or hypothecation of agriculture produce, including warehouse receipts, for a period not exceeding 12 months. Against, this is the latest change, up to 75 lakhs against pledge hypothecation of agriculture produce, including warehouse receipts, for a period not exceeding 12 months. Against negotiable warehouse receipts, NWR means negotiable warehouse receipts, or E, electronic negotiable warehouse receipts. ENWR, electronic negotiable warehouse receipts. Negotiable warehouse receipts. Banks can give loan 75 lakhs up to 12 months. And after that, up to 50 lakhs against warehouse receipts other than negotiable warehouse receipts, electronic national warehouses. So warehouse receipts other than negotiable warehouse receipts, electronic negotiable warehouse receipts, banks can give 50 lakhs. So this is the latest development. 75 lakhs, they had increased it to 75. This is about the corporate farmers. Question number, very important question. Now, this is the duration of zero coupon bonds. It will come under market investments. Duration, the payback period of the zero coupon bond is equal to its maturity period. The duration of zero coupon bond is equal to its maturity period, because in the zero coupon bond, zero coupon bonds are normally are available. They are issued at a discount to their face value. These zero coupon bonds are issued at discount to their face value, and on maturity, the company is going to pay the face value of the bond. Zero coupon bonds do not carry any interest. So, in between, from the date of investment till maturity, the investor is not getting any interest. Means zero coupon bonds do not carry any interest. It is there. For example, duration of a 5-year zero coupon bond is 5 years only, because maturity is 5 years, duration is also 5 years, because in this zero coupon bond, the party is not getting any interest. That's why duration and maturity are same. This is about duration. The same question may be accountancy also. Accountancy. Security receipts issued by. Security receipts. The same question under legal and regulatory aspect of banking also there. Whenever banks are selling NPA, non-performing assets, to asset reconstruction companies. Whenever banks are selling loans, NPA loan to ARCs, asset reconstruction companies, they are issuing bonds or receipts to banks. That bonds are called as security receipts issued by asset reconstruction company. These security receipts are issued toward the cost of NPA. Whatever the NPA they are purchasing from banks, towards that part amount they are paying cash, and the remaining amount they are issuing security receipts. These security receipts issued by ARCs are non-SLR bonds. These are non-SLR bonds. The maturity period at least 6 to 8 years. These bonds maturity period is 6 to 8 years. This is the security receipts issued by ARCs, asset reconstruction companies, at the time of purchase of NPA from the banks. 107. Financial Benchmark India Limited. Financial abbreviation FBIL. Financial Benchmark India Limited. Jointly promoted by Financial Benchmark India Limited. Jointly promoted by FEMDA. FEMDA is having 76% share. FEDA is having 14% share. IBA is having 10% share. FEMDA abbreviation. Fixed Income Money Market Derivatives Association. FEDI, Foreign Exchange Dealers Association. IBA, Indian Banks Association. This is the, what is the duty of this? This is the independent an independent company. This is an independent company which is administrating overnight, independently administrating the overnight MIBOR, Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate. Overnight Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate. Every day it is declaring this 11 hours 45 minutes. On all working days, this is going to be released. Mumbai Interbank Overnight rate. Then foreign exchange benchmark rates also. Dollar versus INR. That benchmark rates also released by Financial Benchmark of India Limited as of today. So this was established by RBI with the help of these organizations for administration of FBIL, overnight Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate, foreign exchange benchmarks. Further, it is an independent agency which will take care of the administration of the benchmark rates. This is the FBIL. What are the object of mergers? Normally, mergers, diversification of activities. 2-3 companies are going to be merged. Diversification of activities. Improved profitability. Normally, the mergers object also improved profitability and improved economies of scale. Means overall economies of scale means reduction in cost, increasing the profitability. These are the object of mergers. General question. What are the restrictions? Question number 109. What are the restrictions imposed by RBI on granting of loans to willful defaulters companies, willful defaulter borrowers? Normally, once a borrower name, company name declared under willful defaulters list, for that company, for that borrower, no additional facility should be granted by any bank. Once a borrower company declared as willful defaulter, no additional credit facilities sanctioned by any bank to that borrower up to 5 years. Once a borrower name was declared by willful defaulter, no additional credit facilities, no further finance to that willful defaulter up to 5 years. This is number one. Number two, what is the cutoff limit for declaration of willful defaulter? What is the amount of default? 25 lakhs and above. The cutoff limit, the amount of default here it is required. Any borrower defaulted 25 lakhs and above, then it is going to be comes under willful defaulter. This is about the question number 109. Question number 1110, settlement risk. When the transaction taken place, settlement is not happening, that is called settlement risk. RTGS, no settlement risk. NEFT, no settlement risk. Earlier, lot of settlement risk is there in the transaction. To avoid this, settlement risk arising out of different time zones, because countries are situated in different time zones. Our banking is going to be closed by 5 o'clock. After closing of our banking hours, another country's banking hours are starting. So, in between that, because of timing differences, any settlement risk arises. That is called Aristot risk. In 1974 or 75, one of the bank was bankrupted after 5 o'clock. So that's why settlement risk arising out of time zone differences. The nickname that is called as Aristot risk. Because of this risk only, because of this bank failure only, now Basel 1, Basel 2, Basel 3 was also started implemented to avoid the settlement risk. Now, to avoid the settlement risk, now the continuous settlements are continuing by various countries. That is called settlement risk arising out of time zone, because our country time zone is different working, other country time zone is. So forex market is a 24 hours market. That's why this has been taken place. Now this is about prospectus. Now these four are also important principle and practice of banking, also useful for accountancy, and also very useful for legal and regulatory aspect of banking. So this is a common topic, but all the three papers are important. Red herring prospectus. Red herring prospectus. Normally, prospectus issued by public companies only. Prospectus are not allowed issued by private companies. So, whenever any public company issuing red herring prospectus, in that prospectus, either price or number of shares to be issued not disclosed. In the prospectus, in the red herring prospectus issued by any public company without price of the share or number of shares to be issued is not disclosed, that is called red herring prospectus. Red herring. Shelf prospectus. Shelf prospectus, it is also issued public companies when a company or any financial institution, means banks are financial institutions. A company or financial institution offers one or more security to the public within a year. Within 1 year, if the company coming for public offer one or more security issues, then the company will issue self prospectus. The validity of the self prospectus is not more than 1 year, means up to 1 year the prospect. Once any public company issued or any bank or financial institute issued prospectus, they need not issue fresh prospectus if they are coming any second or third issue during the same 1 year. A company shall provide a validity period of the prospectus of the self prospectus which should not be more than 1 year. So normally the validity period of the self prospectus is up to 1 year. This is as per section 31 of Companies Act 2013. This is about self prospectus. Validity is 1 year. Within 1 year, the company may go for 2 or 3 issues also. That is there. Deemed prospectus. Deemed prospectus means any company selling offer of securities for sale to be deemed. Document containing details of offer of securities for sale. Sometimes companies are shedding their shares. Companies are reducing their stake in the company. At that time, that is called as offer for sale. Offer of securities for sale. Any company offer of securities for sale is coming, then they will issue deemed prospectus. Deemed prospectus. That is as per section 25, subsection 1 of Companies Act 2013. And abridged prospectus. Abridged means concise. It is not but containing all the major details of the prospectus. That is called abridged. Means a memorandum, a prospectus containing salient features of the prospectus as may be specified by the SEBI. In this means major important elements abridged, concise they are issuing, that is called abridged prospectus. Suppose total prospectus is 100 pages. Abridged for prospectus may be 5 to 6 pages containing all major salient features, major material information they used to provide. That is called abridged prospectus. This is self prospectus, deemed prospectus, abridged prospectus. So this is very important for principle and practice of banking, very important for accountancy paper also, very important for legal and regulatory aspect of banking. So this slide is important for all the 3 papers. Going concern capital. Going concern capital means tier 1 capital, common equity tier 1 capital and additional tier 1 capital is called as going concern capital. Means what is meant by going concern capital? This is a permanent capital in the business. This capital can absorb losses without triggering of bankruptcy. So without entering into bankruptcy, the bank can written off the losses from this capital, that is called going concern capital. Bank can absorb written off losses from the going concern capital or tier 1 capital without touching of bankruptcy or liquidation. That capital is called as going concern capital. We can say good capital, best capital. Examples of going concern capital is common equity tier 1 capital, that is own capital. Additional tier 1 capital, that is also permanently borrowed, perpetual borrowed capital. Both these capital and capital instruments comes under going concern capital. Means we can absorb the losses without triggering, we can return off this capital without triggering the bankruptcy. Gone concern capital. It means this is not that much good capital. Gone concern capital can be absorbed, can be utilized, can be written off to losses in case of bankruptcy only. At the time of bank is entering into bankruptcy, at that time only we can eliminate, we can reduce, we can written off, we can appropriate the going concern capital. What are the examples? Tier 2 capital instruments. Tier 2 capital instruments. Then see, this all comes under Basel 2, Basel 3 statement. CCB, capital conservation buffer, introduced under Basel 3 norms. In India, RBI introduced the CCB, Capital Conservation Buffer, or introduced in India as per Basel III stipulations or guidelines. This is the question related to Basel topic. Now, this is also related to risk Basel. 113. What are market risk? In the name itself, it is there. Market, which is related to market. Interest rate risk. When in the market, normally interest rates are going to fluctuate. Interest rate may increase or decrease. That will come under part of market. Market fluctuations. Market risk means market fluctuations. And equity price risk. So, whenever we are purchasing investments, that investment prices may fluctuate also. Today, it may come down. Tomorrow, it will go up. Whatever the fluctuations in investments invested by the bank, that is called equity price risk. Prices are changing. That is called risk. And foreign exchange risk. Now, bank is dealing with various foreign currencies. The foreign currencies rates are going to be changed in once in every 4 seconds. The rates are changing. So, when foreign currency exchange risk means foreign currencies are changing very frequently. Because of that, you have to face the foreign exchange risk. And in our country, banks are not dealing with commodities. If banks are dealing with commodities, commodity prices also will fluctuate. So, market risk means related to market movements of interest, prices of investment, and foreign exchange rates. That is. Then question number 14, 1114, operational risk. It is related to market risk, operational related to operational matters. Risk of loss resulting from inadequate systems, inadequate process, failed internal process. Processors are not adequate to meet the banking requirement. And people, so many frauds are taking place because of people. System failure, system hacking, system crashing, all will come under operational risk. Sometimes external um, hmm, hacking of the systems, hacking of the software, hacking of the website from externally, all will comes under operational risk. So, in banks are facing credit risk, market risk, and operational risk. Under Basel III, we are talking about credit risk, market risk, and operational risk. This is repo, TREPS, tripartite repo. This is the new instrument introduced in 2018. 2018, this was introduced. Earlier, CBLO is there, collateralized borrowing and lending obligation is there. This was discontinued with effect from 5th November 2018. In the CBLO place, RBI permitted to start this TREPS, tri-party repo. Under tri-party repo, in the name itself, tri-party repo means a repo contract between two banks. A repo contract between two bankers, where a third party is there. Two banks are dealing with a third party, that is called tri-party repo. Apart from the borrowing bank, apart from the lender bank, third party is there, that is CCIL. So, borrowing bank is there, lending bank is there, mediator is third party, that is in India, as for tri-party repo, it's a clearing corporation of India. Risk is less. Under tripartite repo, counterparty credit risk is less. What is the object of the scheme? Efficient utilization of collaterals. Then, what is the period of borrowing? Under this repo, tripartite repo, banks can borrow or banks can lend for 1 day to up to 1 year. Banks can borrow or banks can lend 1 day to 1 year. That is there. How much they can borrow, or the minimum investment is 5 lakhs or in multiples of 5 lakhs. So, bankers are allowed to borrow or allowed to lend under this instrument minimum 5 lakhs in multiples of 5 lakhs. Period is 1 day to 1 year. And settlement cycle is T plus 0. Trade day plus 0 means settlement on the same day, or T plus 1. Trade day plus next day, number 1. 1 means next day. This is there. T plus 0 means trade day. This is there. T means trade day. Settlement of securities and funds is on net basis. Under tripartite repo system, settlement of securities between the banks and settlement of bank funds between the bank on net basis. Net basis, that is called as delivery versus payment. Delivery versus payment. 3. Funds are net basis, securities are also net basis. Dear viewers, this is my brief presentation, which will be, I am thinking that it will help in your preparation. Further, here I had posted a separate YouTube message through this link about the money market matters. If anybody want to further study on the tripartite repo, you can visit this YouTube. Now, thank you very much for extending support for our YouTube channel. We are also conducting regular courses for CAB, JAB, CAB and promotional examinations at the request of the participants. Thank you very much for all.